What's this about you losing your Kevlar?
It bounced off my head, Sergeant Major, last night.
Bounced off your head?
I was up on the 50 cal and the Humvee went over a berm, Sergeant Major.
That Kevlar wasn't yours to lose! That was the property of this United States Marine Corps! Belonged to every Marine! To secure that Hendrick, you jeopardized every Marine serving today! I was considered NJP in your office. Sergeant Culver, this is what happens when you don't enforce grimmer standards. The men's gets all lax, and another standards fall. Double here stops to use chin strap, goes over a bump, Kevlar goes flying off his head, and our protective posture is weakened.
Rise and shine. 6 a.m. and your hand can't make it to the alarm clock before the voices in your head start telling you that it's too early, too dark, and too cold to get out of bed. Aching muscles lie still in rebellion, pretending not to hear your brain commanding them to move. A legion of voices are shouting their unanimous permission for you to hit the snooze button and go back to dreamland. But you didn't ask their opinion. The voice you've chosen to listen to is one of defiance. A voice that says there was a reason you set that alarm in the first place. So sit up, put your feet on the floor, and don't look back, because we've got work to do. Welcome to the grind. For what is each day but a series of conflicts between the right way and the easy way? 10,000 streams fan out like a river delta before you, each one promising the path of least resistance. Thing is, you're headed upstream. And when you make that choice, when you decide to turn your back on what's comfortable and safe and what some would call common sense, well, that's day one. From there, it only gets tougher. So just make sure this is something you want, because the easy way out will always be there, ready to wash you away. All you have to do is pick up your feet. But you aren't going to, are you? With each step comes the decision to take another. You're on your way now, but this is no time to dwell on how far you've come. You're in a fight against an opponent you can't see, but oh, you can feel him on your heels, can't you? Feel him breathing down your neck. You know what that is? That's you. Your fears, your doubts, and insecurities all lined up like a firing squad, ready to shoot you out of the sky. But don't lose heart. While they're not easily defeated, they are far from invincible. Remember, this is the grind, the battle royale between you and your mind, your body, and the devil on your shoulder who's telling you that this is just a game. This is just a waste of time. Your opponents are stronger than you. Drown out the voice of uncertainty with the sound of your own heartbeat. Burn away your self-doubt with a fire lit beneath you. Remember what we're fighting for, and never forget that momentum is a cruel mistress. She can turn on a dime with the smallest mistake. She is ever searching for the weak place in your armor, that one tiny thing you forgot to prepare for. So as long as the devil is hiding the details, the question remains, is that all you got? Are you sure? And when the answer is yes, when you've done all you can to prepare yourself for battle, then it's time to go forth and boldly face your enemy, the enemy within. Only now you must take that fight into the open, into hostile territory. You're a lion in a field of lions, all hunting the same elusive prey with a desperate starvation that says victory is the only thing that can keep you alive. So believe that voice that says you can run a little faster and you can throw a little harder, and that for you, the laws of physics are merely a suggestion. Luck is the last dying wish of those who want to believe that winning can happen by accident. Sweat, on the other hand, is for those who know it's a choice. So decide now, because destiny waits for no man. And when your time comes and 1,000 different voices are trying to tell you you're not ready for it, listen instead to that lone voice of dissent, the one that says you are ready, you are prepared. It's all up to you now. So rise and shine.
Remember, this is the grind.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from Pittsburgh Studio number 1, it's Cold War Radio. Here's your host, Hutch Bailey Jr.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. It's another week. Welcome and thank you for choosing Cold War Radio, the Cold War Radio patron hotline, 206-6208. If you listen to the show via podcast, you can always call 412-567-1460 and leave a voicemail. We'll play it on the air, unless it's stupid. Go to SteelCityResistance.com, become a Cold War Radio patron. That's what keeps us going, ladies and gentlemen. Catch the research room, the video page. If you'd like to write to the show, write to Cold War Radio, P.O. Box 104-33370, Castle Shannon Boulevard, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15234. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's ease over to the east end of the city of Pittsburgh and welcome co-founder of this operation, Ward Miller. Hello, Ward.
Good evening, Hutch and my bacon-loving deplorables. How's everybody doing tonight?
Oh, we got a chat room filled up. I got to get to some serious business in a minute, but I got a couple pre-rolls first. I don't know if everybody knows this, so I wanted to put it out there. Of course, we love our patrons. Our patrons keep this thing going. But we also have another donor that I rarely mention, and I should do this more. iHeartRadio, ladies and gentlemen. iHeartRadio pays the entire Spreaker bill, and, well, not the entire. They don't pay for the app, but they do pay for the pro broadcaster plan that we have here. And I was looking, and we are paid up to Spreaker via iHeartRadio until 5/5/2024. And basically what that means, for a year with this plan, it's $540. So they've ponied up $2,160 to Spreaker in order for us to be on the air. So if you get a chance, go listen to an episode on iHeartRadio and leave a thumbs up or leave some love for them. Let them know that you listen to the show and you enjoy it. I don't know how that happened. I know how it started, but I didn't know they paid that much in advance until I really did the little quick math before the program tonight. So that's just one thing. Thank you, iHeartRadio. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, that's very cool.
That is very cool. On to the pre-roll. Ward, I don't know if you ever had this delicious treat or not. A lot of people consider Pittsburgh part of the Northeast, which it really isn't. I mean, we're kind of half in the Northeast, but easing over there into the Midwest. And geographically, I mean, and culturally too, in a lot of ways. Really, Pittsburgh is, we got a big brother, and its name is Chicago. A lot of people don't know that. But it's a fact in a lot of ways. As a matter of fact, the firefighters union in Pittsburgh and Chicago have an ongoing rivalry. I think it's every 25 years or every 50 years. It's kind of, I don't know if Will's listening, but it's kind of like the Aliquippa Bridge. The Pittsburgh Firefighters Union is Firefighters Union number 1, and Chicago is number 2, and it's disputed. And every so often they flip a coin. And we flipped a coin and we won again a couple years ago, so we're still union number 1. But my point is there's a lot of culture in Chicago that's not other places. And one of them is their food. You know, the Chicago, oh, absolutely. I mean, they're home to the stockyards, the Chicago stockyards. So
home to deep dish pizza, man.
Oh, that's good too, absolutely. But I made something that I really love yesterday, 2 days ago, and Italian beef. I don't know if you've ever had that, but man, I'll tell you, it's like a roast that I left in the crock pot overnight so I wouldn't have to use high. I wanted to use low. And I bought this, I don't even know what kind of roast it was, about 4 pounds. You can use any kind of beef as long as it has a little bit of marbling in it. And then you just put some people use pepperoncinis. I use banana peppers, about 3/4 of a jar of them, and 4 cups of beef broth, a bunch of spices, garlic, oregano, basil, the whole 9 yards. And then you just leave it in there. And then the next day, you break it apart like pulled pork almost. And you get a Giardelli pepper mix, which is like vegetables, pickled vegetables, like cauliflower. There's carrots in there. There's jalapenos. There's sport peppers, all kind of things. And you could use it right out of the jar, but the pieces are too big for my taste, so I chop them all up. And then you put that on the top, man, and you pour a little bit of that, ladle a little bit of that broth into a cup, put it on a hoagie roll. And some people use cheese. I don't, because when I did, you can't even taste the cheese, in my opinion, because the meat's so strong. It's good. But you dip it in that bowl of au jus or whatever, and you got to like really stretch your arms out to eat it so you don't get it on your clothes. But, oh, my God, is that good. I just had to mention that. That's good stuff, man. Thank you, Chicago. Ward, talk about the freaking Facebook page, man.
Dude, I don't know what's going on, man. I right before, earlier today, I sent Hutch an email because I got alerted on one of the pictures that we had on the Facebook page, and it has over 500. What was it? 580,000.
Yeah. High 500s.
Yeah, it was over 500,000, and I'm like, what? I mean, and it just kind of shook me that something that I posted I just thought was goofy, that 1 million people seen it, and like 8.5, what was it, 8.3 thousand shares of that picture, and I was just like, this is just crazy. It
was Fredo too. It was Fredo Corleone.
Yeah, it was that Fredo picture that I'd posted. That was like 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
and it just kind of blew up, and it was blowing up, and I didn't even notice it. There was nothing, to alert me. And I guess somebody commented on it, and it caused it to surface or whatever on my, on the
stats.
Facebook thing. Yeah, the stats were. It was like so-and-so commented, and I went to look, and I was like, whoa, what is that? So immediately I start taking screenshots and sending them to Hutch, because it's like, this is crazy. I can't even imagine 500,000 people, checking out something I made. That's just crazy.
That was pretty neat. I was, on the weekends we play the Berg's Eye View and Steel City Resistance, the original. Incidentally, I was looking into that too, Ward, and we have our 10-year anniversary coming up in November of Steel City Resistance. That's pretty amazing too. Podcast don't last that long. Now, Steel City Resistance didn't, but by the same token, Cold War Radio was just an extension. That's why I'd stopped Steel City Resistance, because they were the same show.
Well,
just a different name.
You were getting people that weren't from the Steel City.
True, but we still have three out of 6 players are from Pittsburgh, so we still have an anchor here for sure. We'll never lose that. But I just thought that was neat. That's a long time for a podcast.
It's completely crazy.
So I spent the day at the VA today, the VA hospital, and I got to say, with all the bad reporting that comes out of there, they've treated me really well, man. I just can't really. I've had my foibles with them, but all in all, I might not say this if I didn't live in the city of Pittsburgh, but in Pittsburgh, the VA hospital is among all the other hospitals. They're all in the same grid square, all the good ones, most of them, in Oakland. And it's a real hospital. It's not a 2-story joint. It's I don't know how many stories it is, but it's got a lot of stories.
Yeah, it's a real deal hospital, man.
It is, and it's got thousands of employees, and I've come to know some of them, and they've treated me well, and they never get a break. I just wanted to say that, and I'm speaking of primarily the healthcare providers, not necessarily the rest of the staff. Some of those guys are assholes. I never saw so many angry women running around, but they have nothing to do with the actual hands-on healthcare. Those people are great, in my opinion, and we're lucky because the doctors are not necessarily full-time VA physicians. Most of them are from these other hospitals. So it's just a bonus here. I know it's probably not like that everywhere, but for here, let me just give a shout out to the VA in Pittsburgh. They're doing a good job, in my opinion, in my case.
Outstanding.
I want to talk a little bit for a second about what happened today. Yesterday, was when you can start giving a little bit more credence to the polls, because we've entered into the zone where if you own a polling business, you don't want to be wrong. So obviously Fox News' fake poll had Trump down by 15 points, evaporated today. It's gone.
Yeah, so did CNN's.
Right, CNN's. As a matter of fact, Fox reported on CNN's poll. They didn't even say anything about their own fake poll.
Well, President Trump was. I was watching his remarks after he landed in Minnesota, and he was talking about the fact that he said all of a sudden CNN's got me up another 10 points.
Imagine that.
I don't know if they're just imagining that that they were wrong, or they start asking the right people. I'm not. You know how President Trump is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure why they do this, but they're doing it. And what's the guy's name? The My Pillow guy.
Mike
he was
Lindell.
there. Yeah, Rendell. He was there. He was kind of hyping all the people that were running for Congress and Senate and whatnot, and he was giving shout outs. But it was pretty decent. It wasn't a rally event. It was, but it had that feel. You know what I mean?
Well, he doesn't. He can't have them. He can't have the rallies, and what he's doing, Ward, is he is contrasting his deal with the Biden deal, and the Biden deal is so phony, it's sickening. I mean,
well, that's the exact reason why he's not making remarks,
right?
Because they're going to have him. He's probably filmed his acceptance speech a dozen times already. No, Joe, you can't say that. No, Joe, that's not appropriate.
Stop picking your nose. Joe. Stop picking your nose. Yeah, it's horrible. And you know what really makes me mad? I'm watching people that you should be able to take seriously, and this has always been my problem with Fox News. They're treating Biden and Trump as morally equivalent. And I think that is so dishonest. This guy, I mean, are we going to forget that the Chinese paid his family $1.6 billion? Are we just going to forget that? Is that not newsworthy? That a foreign power that is demonstrably trying to take over the world as far as economics, military, and everything else owns your candidate? That's not important. They treat them like they're both equal, and that infuriates me.
Well, here's the other thing, too. They're trying to say that part of the reason that Biden's poll numbers went down or Trump's went up, however they care to frame it, right, is the bottom line is what changed in the equation? Kamala Harris.
Right.
So here's the problem with Kamala Harris. She's a huge hypocrite. Right?
She's a hoe.
During her campaign, she called Biden a racist and a rapist.
Oh, yeah.
To his face. And then she accepts a job from him.
It's lovely. Lovely.
Isn't that a little disingenuous? And not only that, the fact that she's not African American, which she keeps kind of espousing. She's Jamaican. Her father was Jamaican. Her mother was Indian. And she's descended from Jamaican slave owners.
Indeed.
So that's part of the thing that needs to be made public, I think. Because they're not really talking about it. Because I've seen somebody try and corner her they cornered her in the airport, and they were asking her about the child trafficking and whatnot, being a former DA and, et cetera, et cetera. And she would not answer the question.
Of course not.
Anything about child trafficking.
And nobody will ask her about it. Nobody will ask her about it. I mean, this is such a ruse. But I think that a lot of people are falling for it. It's amazing to me. I got into something that I don't normally do the other day. I got into a back and forth with a woman that I know, a successful Well, not successful. A failed businesswoman, actually. She lost her bar. She had another one in Monaco. She might still have it. I'm not sure. But at any rate, she's a full in for Joe Biden. And I mean, when I brought up the point about the money that Joe Biden has embezzled from Ukraine, from China, from Iraq, and who knows where else, well, I'd have to see some sources on that. And, of course, I put a New York Post source, and that wasn't good enough. You know, it's just
no.
It's amazing, man.
Well, here's the thing. The Trump derangement syndrome is so deep with some people. They're not voting for Biden. They're voting against Trump.
100% correct. 100% correct.
They could be running Rin Tin Tin up there, and these moron Democrats are going to vote for Rin Tin Tin because Orange Man bad.
You're showing your age, man. Rin Tin Tin, that's some old black and white stuff. Dude, there, bro.
I had a grasp for a dog's name out of the blue. Give me a break.
Good job. Good job. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever thought that the deep state was fake, I remember listening to Glenn Beck one time talking about his visit with George W. Bush and how George W. Bush told him it doesn't matter who's elected. It's all the same thing's going to happen no matter what. I want you to listen to the president. Scary interview, man. Penned as the scariest interview. I believe he's talking to Maria Bartiromo. But I want you to listen to the details when he talks about hiring FBI Director Wray. This is scary.
The Mueller investigation just a cover-up for what they had done? Because the Mueller investigation, we're getting all of the documents now where we're getting this declassification of documents. And so we know, oh, yes, they lied to the Senate. Oh, yes, they lied to the FISA court. All of this stuff was available when Mueller was doing the investigation. So how come he didn't unearth any of this? Was that just an opportunity to just have all of the documents frozen as a cover-up for what they did to you?
Because they were only interested in anything having to do with Trump, even though they knew all of this stuff. Strzok and Page, their text message were all deleted by Mueller. Mueller went in himself and he lied to Congress because he said he didn't apply for a job to head the FBI, and he did. And we have absolute proof of that. He came in looking to run the FBI early on. The following day, he was given the job as the special prosecutor. I call it prosecutor because it's not a counsel. They say special counsel. It's really a prosecutor. So he was given the just, I want to be more accurate. And with all of that that they did, think of it. They spent $48 million plus. You don't even know what they spent. Looked at everything. They looked at my taxes, I'm sure. They looked at everything. With all of that, no collusion. I have a friend who's a very sophisticated man, one of the most successful people. You know him very well. He said, you have to be the most honest person in the world to escape the greatest witch hunt ever perpetrated in the history of our country, to go over every document, every phone call, everything you've ever done. And they say, no collusion. I did nothing wrong. They said, I never knew you were that honest. He said, you must be the most honest man in the world. And so then they take it down and they send it to New York. Well, listen, we couldn't find anything. Let's send it into New York, into the Democrat Lion's Den. So they play games there for years. It's a disgrace. What's going on in this country, we've got to stop it. We've got to stop it. And
but, Mr. President, we know
it's a disgrace.
But, Mr. President, we know that the FBI lied to the Senate in February of 2018. Christopher Wray was running the FBI, Mr. President. Is Christopher Wray hiding all of this stuff and protecting the FBI? Should he step down?
So Christopher Wray was put there. We have an election coming up. I wish he was more forthcoming. He certainly hasn't been. There are documents that they want to get and that we have said we want to get. We're going to find out if he's going to give those documents, but certainly he's been very, very protective. He was put there for good reason. He was chosen by a certain person, and I said, go ahead, put whoever you want. I'm so honest that I said you could put anybody you want. Let's see how Wray turns out. He's going to either turn out one way or the other. But I'll tell you, Bill Barr and Durham have a chance to be... Bill Barr has a chance to be the greatest of all time. But if he wants to be politically correct, he'll be just another guy. because he knows all the answers.
Mr.
He
President,
knows what they have. And it goes right to Obama, and it goes right to Biden. They had the meetings. That was one meeting they caught him. They had many meetings.
That's right. We have it all on a timeline right here. And, Mr. President, I know that we're going to be wrapping up soon, but I just want to get your take on these debates. There's this movement now in the media trying to get Joe Biden to not debate you. And then you announced yesterday initiatives to help get kids back to school. If you could just touch on these two topics before we wrap up here, sir. First off, are you planning these? Are we going to have a debate, you and Biden?
Well, I want a debate.
3 debates?
I would say the only problem with the debates is we should have one debate. Move it forward or have an extra one. I don't care. 3 debates is fine, or make it 4. But we should have one before the ballots are out. These phony ballots, they go out, and we should have a debate before the ballots. We have a debate a month after the ballots start going out. So people are voting without seeing the debate. So I think they should move one debate forward or have an extra one put it. But I want to do the debates. And they are trying to get out of the debates. There's no question about that. I have people that are very good at this stuff. So am I. And I will tell you, they would love to get out of the debates, unfortunately. Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, you have debated pretty aggressively in the past. You've also announced yesterday initiatives to help get kids back in the classroom. Tell me about that. This includes sending 125 million reusable masks. Go ahead. I want to get the schools open. They should be open. The children, if you look statistically, it's incredible how strong they are. Their immune systems, they're incredible. We have to get our schools open. We have to get our country open. And a lot of the reason it's not happening is because blue state governors, if you take a look at some of the Democrat governors, they don't want their state open because they think that hurts me on November 3rd. And I think people are wise to it. Our country is going to be stronger than it's ever been next year. We're going to have one of the best years, maybe as good as last year. It's incredible what's happening. And when you look at the numbers on cars, on everything, retail sales, you look at the employment numbers, we set a record. We're going up despite the Democrats. This is like I built the wall despite the Democrats. Now nobody wants to talk about it anymore. But despite the Democrats, they don't talk about the wall anymore. Do you notice? They used to talk about it. Now they don't because it's going to be completed very soon. But despite the Democrats, we have a V going like nobody thought even possible. They're impossible. They're very difficult people. I sometimes think they don't love the country, but they're doing the wrong thing. But in the meantime, I do love your show, and I think you're fantastic.
Mr. President, thank you so much for the time this morning. Thanks for your leadership, sir. We'll be watching. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Maria.
All right, so the takeaway there is the president didn't hire any of these people. There's some people behind the scenes that put Ray in there. And maybe Barr, too. Who knows? I mean, you're hearing this background about, something's happening by Friday and by September 4th and this, that, and the other thing. And, I certainly hope so. And I think with this guy that just broke and Kleinsmith, I think with him out there cutting a deal, you don't cut a deal without telling. You have to completely plead guilty to what you're charged with. And then you have to be available for upcoming trials. That's the way it goes.
Well, the thing is, too, and the media didn't report on it either. It's the fact that he pled guilty.
Right.
And they had already accepted the plea. So that means that he already rolled on whoever he could roll on.
Oh, right. At least to the U.S. attorneys. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, he made the best deal he could make, and then he's going to go away. And the thing is, everybody keeps saying, well, why hasn't Brennan been pulled in? Why hasn't Clapper been pulled in? Because they don't need to be. Well, it's the guys underneath them that are railing on them.
A little thing on that. A little thing on that. Somebody did a Twitter study, and you remember how these guys all used to talk all that smack on Twitter. All these keyboard warriors. They haven't said anything in 20-some days. Yeah. All of them. All three of them. Brennan, Clapper, and Stroke.
Yeah, Clapper, Comey, or
Comey too,
Brennan.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, none of them have said a damn word.
So we'll see what happens.
I mean, if you're their attorney, what's the first thing you tell them? Shut your mouth.
Right.
Don't say anything.
And, that would be my advice to the president when it comes to Kamala Harris. I'd say, look, don't even talk about her. Ignore her. Just ignore her. Let Pence deal with her. Don't even worry about her. You know, I think there was
the thing is, I mean, him going after Biden is just so mean. I mean, he might as well fight both of them at the same time because Biden's, completely retarded.
But Kamala's not. You know,
no, she's not. She will sell her soul to get whatever she wants. She's already proven it. She's prostituted herself, and I'm not saying that to be facetious, but yeah, she did.
Why not?
To Willie Brown, and that's how she got her positions.
20-some years old, and he was 60.
Positions.
He was horizontal Harris. Hey, you put her up there. Don't get on me for calling out some observations. You idiots put her up there. And I know it wasn't Biden that did it.
No. Biden had absolutely no idea who it was going to be.
He's terrible.
Absolutely not.
I can't. These people are going to do some crazy stuff. Did you hear Ariana Presley? She's the member of the squad that nobody knows, the bald-headed black lady.
Yeah.
She says she wants unrest in the streets. And you know, if that's where we are, and the American people vote for that, boy, I don't even know what to say, man.
Well, here's the problem that I don't think that they get. You know, right now, you know, the silent majority has showed up when they had to.
Right.
And there have been times, and they just show up, they do their thing, and it goes away, right? You get them pissed off and start talking about, you know, violence in the streets. And that's what happened. Where was it? Was that in Ohio? I think it was in Ohio. The Antifa showed up and they were going to start raising hell. And the neighborhood just stood up and said, I don't think so.
Oh, there were several places like that. There was a neighborhood in California. There was a neighborhood in Ohio. There was a neighborhood right next to Eugene, Oregon, Springfield. There was Sturgis that we're going to talk about in a second. But yeah, these people are starting to come out, and it's only a matter of time. I mean, I'm gonna relay a story right now that I got some really bad news in the chat room at the beginning of the show. I even had a red update to this story that's no longer valid. Black Lives Matter and Antifa rioters in Portland targeted, beat, or robbed multiple passerby, including a trans woman. Now, that should say a trans man, but whatever. On Sunday evening, according to multiple videos posted to social media. And they actually played one on Fox News tonight. A young white woman was chased down the street in downtown Portland, crying out, "We didn't do anything. We were just walking down the street, and they just started attacking us." And you wouldn't believe the racial slurs that were delivered to this white woman. After a man on a scooter showed up, she started running, according to video tweeted by journalist Andy No. BLM and Antifa rioters also attacked an older white woman who was leaning against a truck and trying to protect herself. The white male driver of the truck, which was stopped at the time, then tried to drive away and crashed his truck. The rioters followed him, and when he exited his truck, they forced him to sit on the ground, and they beat him unconscious. My update to the story an hour before the show, report man still unconscious in Portland Hospital after brutal attack by Antifa and Black Lives Matter thugs. That man, and I don't have his name, passed away right before the show. Goddamn. You know, that this is out of control. It's time to start killing these people.
Well, here's the thing. You know, we saw this happen to Reginald Denny in the 90s. It's the same thing. Anybody that stops for one of these protests and allows these animals to approach your car, it's on you. It's on you because you already see the cops aren't going to respond.
Right.
So if you don't have a weapon in your car, you better deal with it.
That's
because
right.
They will pull you out of the car and beat you to death.
I'll talk about that in a second. I have to retract that. I got that from Rocky, and he says, hold up, I may have gotten bad information. The suspect said he was going to jail for murder. The driver is not confirmed dead. So I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. I hope he's still alive. I do, but that doesn't change my attitude.
Well, it's still the same thing.
And I got to tell you, I I got a brush guard on my truck on purpose. That's my Antifa guard, my BLM guard.
There you go.
Don't stop, folks. Don't stop. Do not stop. And that's, I've got a lot of street experience, street smarts. I know not to stop anyway. But it's just something. And if you do stop, don't ever get down on the ground. If you got to grab the biggest dude out there, just grab him and pull him towards you, that if you go down, he's got to go down too. I mean that. That's I've used that in actual activities, and it works. You go down on the ground, you're toast. Because then all the cowards come up and kick you.
Yep.
Wow. Man, I hope he's all right. That's bullshit. I mean, that's... Ooh, and you know, these Democrats will not condemn these people. I think it's time for the...
Well, no, they say it's a myth.
Yeah.
Nadler comes out and says, no, that's not happening. That's a myth. There's video of these people getting beat. There's video, and nothing pisses me off more than these righteous left-wing lunatics that say, oh, but it's the mothers that are out there for mothers against protest. And it's like, you're a complete moron.
It's time to start killing them. That's all I'm saying. It's time to, if we have to wait until after the election, the election's a long time away, man. They're going to kill more people between now and then. It's time to start using double-aught buckshot and quit bullshitting around with the pepper gas and all that. Start killing them.
Well, here's the thing.
Make them terrorist organizations first.
Yeah,
and that damn George Soros, why do I still see him? Why are there still pictures of this free guy? FBI, you've got the teams. Go snatch him. Or get the army to. Go snatch the guy. Get him off the street.
The thing is, what they should do is, and they've already talked about, having them made a, branded as a terrorist organization and whatnot. And that's good for the RICO piece of it, right? But there's also the part where if all these Hollywood celebrities that are donating millions of dollars to Antifa for to spring them from jail or whatever,
right?
Their bank account should get frozen because that's what
Major League Baseball, Major League Baseball, National Football League, the NBA,
I don't care who it is.
Seize them all, seize all their assets. This is BS. We either have a country or we don't. These Democrats don't fit in. They don't fit in with the United States Constitution. This is getting way, way out of control. All because people hate a guy. Why you hate him, I still don't know that. Everything that he's done has turned to gold. I mean, for Christ's sake, we have the first real peace treaty in the Middle East since Jimmy Carter. This makes you look back. When you couple this with the fact that George W. Bush knew there was a deep state, Ronald Reagan knew there was a deep state. We've had cowards in office for years. We finally have somebody that wants to clean it up, and boy, you can tell who's getting paid, can't you?
Well, there's other things too. The president's doing stuff worldwide. It's just not here, and that's why the rest of the world wants him gone too, because they're exposing. You look at the whole thing with Prince Andrew. That's by Trump, man. Trump has had a position against human trafficking and pedophilia since before he came in. And he said in 2012, he said there needs to be something done about it.
Right.
And I think he's doing something about it. And I don't think the people that enjoy that lifestyle are appreciative of it.
And I think there's a lot of them that are in high places. The other thing,
I don't think you get much higher than the Queen of England.
True. Another thing that he's doing is getting us out of all of these State Department kingdoms that are all over the world. I saw something really good. I don't have any respect or love or allegiance at all to Germany. None. Zero. And we're moving our troops from Germany to Poland. I think that's the smartest thing that we ever did. I think we should reassess our fake allies in the European Union and go where the people know what it's like to have communism. Hungary, Austria, not Austria, Hungary, and the Czech Republic and Poland.
The whole Soviet bloc, man.
The whole Soviet bloc. These are people that appreciate liberty. People here don't even appreciate liberty. They don't even know what it is. They think everybody's like we are. They're nuts because they've never been anywhere. It's one of the reasons I started this show, Ward, was because you watch these people and they're oblivious to what's going on in the rest of the world.
Well, and that's something we talked about earlier in the show this is even before Trump, and we were talking about the fact that NATO was just basically raping the U.S., taking the money. We were paying all this money to NATO, to be part of NATO, to help NATO, and nobody else. And until President Trump, we didn't know nobody else is paying anything. We knew we were the teeth of the UN, but we're funding the UN.
Oh, I agree.
And then they turn around and they're going to chastise us, and they're going to tell us what time it is.
My
I
brother,
say we throw them out of the Upper East Side, send them over to Switzerland. You want to be neutral? Fine. Be neutral in Switzerland. Take your blue helmeted troops with you and get the hell out of Dodge.
I agree. When both of my brothers served in Germany. I served in Korea in that era. But my brother was in the on the Czech border. He was in the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment, the Black Horse. And he told me, these freaking German troops, their weapons were all rusty. Some of them wouldn't even work. They're just counting on us, man. That's all it was. We're doing all the heavy lifting. Now in Korea, it wasn't like that. The Korean army was no joke.
The thing is, too, in Germany, we're also providing their economy.
Exactly.
Because Ramstein Air Base, what's the other one? Ramstein, Rhein-Main. I think Rhein-Main might be gone now. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Those bases were keeping part of their economy alive, and the fact that they start pulling bases out and wherever they move them, whether they move them back to the U.S. or move them, pulling wherever, that's a hit the economy's got to take.
That's right.
You know what? If Merkel would have been a decent person and negotiated in true fashion of an ally,
in good faith,
yeah, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But too bad.
Right. And look what they're doing with their immigration. Their countries are almost lost in Western Europe. It's sad. It's just it's not sad. It's freaking unacceptable is what it is, especially after all the Americans that died saving the damn guys the first time. Not the first time, the second time. Now, I have a clip here that's from last week, and I saw it, but I never listened to it until today, actually yesterday. I want you to listen to Zbigniew Brzezinski's daughter, Mika. He was President Carter's, I forget what position he held, the National Security Advisor or something, Zbigniew Brzezinski. I could never understand why we had a communist in our cabinet like that. But I want you to listen how sick.
Carter's cabinet, so okay.
Yeah, right. I want you to listen. This woman is straight up sick. Just think, this is on the National Broadcasting Corporation's MSNBC. She's a lead person on Morning Joe with Joe the Killer Scarborough. Listen to Mika. You're not going to believe this.
There's clear disdain that I have for this president, but look at the facts. Look at how he's worn us down, from his paid-off porn star to Russia lies to racism in Charlottesville, racism across the board, children in cages. Lie after lie after lie, conspiracy theories. Our country right now is really at a breaking point. If we don't find a way to hold this president accountable with his attempts to undermine the post office and also his apparent negligence, perhaps purposeful, on saving the American people's lives in this pandemic. You are pathetic at this point with his calamitous coronavirus leadership. It's killing Americans every day. He could be keeping people alive. He's choosing not to. Every day, This president looks more ridiculous. The clothes fall off. I mean, Mitch McConnell, wake up. Wake up and smell the coffee. Don't you see what's happening? You want to hold on to the Senate? You're going to have nothing at the rate you're going, at the rate you're letting him go. Can't you see what is happening? I know you have a lot of special interests in your state and maybe money coming in from Russia and interests. Your wife works in the administration. But wake up. It's not about losing the Senate. We're losing much more than the Senate. You can be sure that you will never see me on Fifth Avenue. Ever. Ever. Because he has said he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue. I believe him. I ask for you to appeal to members of his administration, those who still have a brain, those who aren't somehow brainwashed by the cult leader, or those who aren't such stooges and so interested in their own special interests and the money they might make somehow that they could care for 1 second about this country. Talk about ditzy. Talk about a ditzy, stupid, botched response to a pandemic that is killing tens of thousands of people, over 160,000 right now. This is on you. It's idiotic, and it's killing people. And you get up there and talk about Joe Biden being wrong? There's nobody who has been more wrong about this than President Donald Trump. Many of those deaths, Mr. President, are on you and your terrible response to this virus. Obvious, terrible response. But you say that children miraculously just don't get it. You're wrong. There's no one who has been more wrong than you on this, and you're the President of the United States. I'm thinking of Tulsa, where the Trump campaign took the social distancing stickers off the chairs and squished people together and made them click on a waiver saying you can't sue if you get the coronavirus and die from coming to this rally. How stupid can you be at this point if you follow this president? I beg you not to be for your life. But I ask you, Dave Ehrenberg, is there any legal recourse if you get this virus because of the stupidity of this president? If you're sensing a little intensity here, I'm a little amped up because this is an emergency.
You really shouldn't come to work when you're on the rag, Mika. I mean, you really don't sound very good. This is the National Broadcasting Corporation.
I think the fact that she's upset because she's going to lose Joe because there's going to be an investigation and Joe's going to end up going to federal penitentiary.
That'd be funny.
And that's the problem. What I'd like to know is we need to do some kind of investigation. If anybody out there is listening to the show and you have any kind of law degree, maybe, and say, okay, why can't we sue, or why can't the president sue her for the blatant lies she just mentioned?
So many of them. I mean, Charlottesville racist. Come on, man. That's been debunked.
Yeah, the Charlottesville thing's been debunked 100 times. Well, you can say Charlottesville on Twitter and they won't chastise you. But if you mention hydrochloroquine, you're going to be banned. You'll be kicked off. And in fact, I seen a thing earlier that they said that Babylon Bee got kicked off of Twitter for satire.
They got reinstated, I think. But yeah, the whole thing is ridiculous. And just for her to this is why.
Why can't the Trump campaign sue these people for lying?
They should.
Why?
I mean, the FCC should not allow this to continue. I've said 100 times on this show, I'm WJ3J. I'm an extra class ham radio operator for 25 years, 30 almost. And the FCC has strict rules on what you can say. And they apply to everybody, not just ham radio operators. I mean, the libel in that woman's mouth, such a ditzy response. Did you miss the 2 naval ships that he sent to New York and L.A., the cesspools of our country, where all the New York, this might as well be called the Cuomo virus, because the people in New York constitute the most deaths, and you can take it right back to Cuomo.
Yeah, well, the thing was, if Cuomo would have sent the elderly patients that got sick, instead of sending them back into the nursing homes, he sent them to the Comfort and into the naval ship.
Exactly.
we wouldn't have had this issue. Well, it would have still been a pandemic and whatnot. But the thing that kills me is she keeps screaming, "It's a pandemic! It's a pandemic!" A pandemic means absolutely nothing, you retard. A pandemic just means it spreads fast. It doesn't mean it has anything to do with mortality.
It's international.
The clap is the pandemic, for Christ's sake.
But the only difference between an epidemic and a pandemic is global, and this was because China made sure it was, using their infected people, sending them all over the world. But, in a normal country that's sane, you don't quarantine healthy people. You quarantine the sick. But we haven't done that.
People, that's called tyranny.
You're damn right it is. And this whole thing with the mask. Anyway, let's go to the phones. This got to be Rico. What's going on, Rico?
Hey, excuse me. What's going on, man?
What's up?
Hey, man, I got a question for you, man. By any chance, would you have a nitwit of the week? Just think about it and go ahead and talk.
Listen. My narrative for last week was blown. I didn't call in because of Shark Week, so I didn't call in. So when you talk about I call her Camel Toe Harris.
You knew it was coming. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, you know it's coming from me. But the thing is that if anybody's responsible for deaths, it's going to be governors and mayors because, to be honest with you, President Trump did not make a single decision about what goes on in the United States of America.
Nope.
When it comes to the pandemic.
Didn't close one business either. He closed one sector of the airline business to keep some of these infected people out of here. And he continued building the wall. But anybody who thinks that the government is going to protect you from nature is a fool.
The thing is, it's not the government's job to look out for your health.
No.
It's the government's job to look out for your rights. And the local governments, the state and local governments, have done a piss poor job of that, especially in some of these blue states like Pennsylvania, New York, Minnesota,
Michigan.
California, Michigan, where they've totally stepped on everybody's rights. And the fact that we're letting it be, Tom Wolf should be recalled. Andrew Cuomo should be recalled.
Andrew Cuomo should be put in prison.
Recalled and then jailed. But I mean, in fact, even Rand Paul is calling for him to be recalled,
impeached, or whatever. I don't know. Recalled,
yeah, whatever it is.
But the whole thing. Go ahead, Rico.
I'm sorry. But when this is all said and done, I mean, we need to have laws about you cannot make the police stop doing their job. That will be against the law, so mayors will go to jail if they do that again.
Oh, you're right. You're damn right.
We need to shore up every little thing that we know could go wrong because of these idiots. They are just showing us the way of what we need to protect against in the future. It's so obvious and so easy.
I looked at my lieutenant governors. There was a thing right before the show that showed his Twitter feed. Pennsylvania, I don't even know the guy's name. Isn't he the guy from McKeesport Ward or something? But
Braddock.
But he had Braddock. Yeah, he has a hammer and sickle on his Twitter feed, on his profile. It's unbelievable, man. These people, first of all, this virus, other than the fact that it was introduced by the Chinese Communist Party, that part there is viable. That's actionable. Something needs to happen about that. But everything else about it, just think about it. It's nature, folks. It's nature. We have an elderly population that is much bigger than it's ever been before in the history of the world, in the United States especially. And when a virus comes in to a species, that's God's way of cleaning the herd up. And that might sound heartless. And if you have any victims of this disease in your life, I apologize for stating this as far as your own personal emotions go. I'm not trying to belittle one of these deaths because no death in our family is ever inconsequential, especially when it comes to our elders. But look at the fatalities. Look at the demographics of the fatalities.
Well,
We're doing this ass backwards. We're nuts.
Here's the other thing that really bothers me is you have a lot of these older patients that are in nursing homes and whatnot that are dying alone.
Oh, that's the worst
They
part.
can't see their family. The family doesn't get to say goodbye because they're locked down in a nursing home. And
Stacey Rush. Stacey Rush.
Yes.
You know,
what's the other?
It's horrible.
The one from there's one from Fox News too, Janice Dane, because she was trying to go after Cuomo because it was in New York that both of her in-laws died in nursing homes because of Cuomo, and so she's launched a campaign against him because of it.
It is. It's nuts. What else you got, Rico?
You know, I don't got much. I just thought I'd call in on that one.
We appreciate it.
I just like to use the word camel toe and, call out Miss Harris,
Oh, boy.
Anyways.
She's something. Thanks, Rico. Always enjoy it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, buddy. Marlene from Eugene, you're next.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Let's see this. Oh, not too bad, one. I do think that a couple quick things, and I have a couple other things. Zebig, as I know her, I got that from reading a book about Madeleine Albright. That's the only reason I know that Brzezinski is Zebig. She is a total piece of work. That's putting it politely.
Yeah.
And I also don't think that Biden really picked Kamala Harris. I think the DNC or somebody else did it for him because
Valerie Jarrett. That's the one pulling the strings.
I can believe it, yep, because as Rob would say, he's Captain Brain Dead.
Well, I mean, think about it, because they had already bullied him. Well, they bullied him into you're going to have an African American running mate, a woman African American running mate.
Right.
So here's the thing: it's not I'm going to pick the best person for the job. You've already said, okay, I'm going to be a racist regardless, and here's my racist choice.
Right.
I mean, that's what it is. You're picking a person based on the color of their skin, not how well they do at the job. Because especially with Biden, in Biden's case, whoever they pick is going to be the president. And that's the thing that has to get hammered home. Everybody has to understand you're not voting for Biden. You're voting for Kamala Harris to be the president of the United States. Because if he were to win, he's Article 25 in a New York second, and she's sworn in, and Nancy's the vice president.
That's right. And you look at what Ward said about her, and others have observed, she's going to do whatever Valerie Jarrett tells her to do.
I believe it.
I mean, she doesn't have a genuine thought in her own mind. I mean, she's disgusting. She really is. She's a hollow person.
She's horrid. Anyhow, switching gears to the northwest part of the world, there was an article in the Epoch Times. Apparently, it was in the Oregonian too, but I couldn't print it out. Apparently, there were a couple of police officers, and I have the link in the chat. They were hospitalized on Saturday, and apparently, there were a couple of idiots who threw, get this, a 10-pound rock at them. I'm like, what the hell?
They got to start shooting back. They got to start shooting back.
There they go again.
I've had enough of this.
They're shooting industrial strength fireworks at the cops.
And in Atlanta,
it's firing a shotgun. Return fire, man.
I
agree.
In Atlanta, they embedded nails in the mortars.
Oh, I believe it.
That news went right away.
And, frozen eggs, water bottles, and shining green tasers, which I guess are illegal here.
Start shooting them.
One of those, but
start killing them.
On a lighter note, the University of Oregon in their library will cover up 4 murals after years of outcry from students, staff, and faculty and community members who felt the murals' language was racist.
Oh, my God.
This is in the Knight Library, which is the library that's named after Uncle Phil. And there was one, I guess, that had a the words mission of a university mentions conserving our racial heritage. Somebody got pissed about that. And then the other one was just the way a couple of them looked.
I can't take any more of this without stating the obvious.
Go ahead.
I would love for some of these really genius white apologists, people that are white, that hate themselves because of it. I would ask that they did a little research. Do a little research, and I want you to take 10 countries that are ruled by non-whites. And you can pick your flavor. I don't care. But I want you to tell me the benefits of living in Mozambique or Zimbabwe or the Republic of the Congo. All you have to do is listen to the weekly Jihad report and you'll see what happens in these other countries. You keep putting yourselves down. This country is the jewel of the world. And it's not because of Black Lives Matter. It's because of white people, black people, and anybody else that believes in liberty and believes in capitalism and believes that we have free speech and the freedom of religion and the freedom of arms. It's ridiculous. These people are, especially the white kids, are stupid, and they haven't been brought up properly. This is ridiculous, and it's so suicidal that it makes me make a comment like that I'd never would make. But it's the truth. I have not seen one pickup truck that I wanted to buy from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I've been looking for them. I can't find them. I can't find one from Venezuela. I can't find one from Venezuela. I can't find a good pickup truck from Guatemala. Or anywhere else.
Or any of the rest of them down there.
Give me a break, man. Get your shit together and grow up.
Well,
join us or get the hell out.
If you look at it, between the Squad and Bernie, they basically overrun the Democratic Party.
Oh, they killed it. Yeah. Bernie's out there saying he's the president.
Basically he is, because Biden doesn't know where he is.
The crying shame.
AOC comes in, she bitch slaps Nancy around. Nancy goes, "Oh no, I'm in charge." No, you're not. But yet the platform is basically everything that AOC says. So how are you in charge there, Nancy? Because there's absolutely no way that this complete left-wing policy works. Because even the moderate Democrats, there's no way they go for this. They will either
there are no more.
Or they will vote for Trump.
There are no more. Well, politicians, but voters, but there are no more moderate politicians in the Democrat Party. And you
no. I was talking about
you voters that think that there's a moderate Democrat. You're nuts. You're insane. The only difference between Nancy Pelosi and AOC is that AOC has bartending experience. That's the only difference.
Well, Nancy has her own bar experience to talk about.
True. She's on the other side of the bar, though.
She's on the other side of the bar. Yeah. So they've both been in the same bars.
That's true.
Exactly.
Right. No, because Nancy Pelosi's bar would never allow a Hispanic in the bar. It would never happen. We don't serve your kind, But any final comments, Marlene?
So bring on the little Mexican girl.
Right. Final comments, Marlene.
No final comments on a happier note. I got an email from the Media Action Network, that guy you had on interviewed a week or two ago.
Yeah, I follow that too.
I do too, and he he was talking about how big tech was censoring them with algorithms and all this kind of baloney. And he said, well, at least drop us say hi or something. And I actually got a response. I'm like, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and I thank him for coming on to Cold War Radio.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. But I just thought that was a nice little positive thing for a change instead of all this doom and gloom.
He was a great guest. You know that? I liked him.
Oh, he was. He was terrific, and I hope we can get him back.
We will.
I hope we get Alec back, too. Cross my fingers.
We could try that again. How's he doing in the
I would love to have Alec back.
How's he doing in the
Doing
polls?
pretty good, I think.
That's good. All right, Marlene, thanks for calling. Always appreciate it.
You're welcome, my friend. Bye-bye.
AOC, how I explain her. She really make my brain hurt. She always need a Twitter page to save her. I'm really sick of her. She always spitting gibberish. I wasn't gonna diss you till you talked about my militants. You said my veterans are better off just sitting in line outside the VA when the waiting has been killing us. We wanna visit a private doctor or physician, but you say the VA isn't broken, so don't go fix it in. Girl, you tripping, you go tell that to the veterans. That in front of the veterans affair without the medicine. This is nonsense, it's not about law or politics. This is for all my veterans sweating out in the hottest. If you really are that somebody who never went and fought the sick, how could you ever talk about medical? We ought to get. I see you move your lips, but it never make no sense. You need to play your documentary on Netflix. Cause like CBS, AOC don't know ABCs. VETs are not 1, 2, 3, we just be seen. So you can cut the script that you read for the public. And with a puppet in front of us fronting it really make me sick of AOC. Yeah, you know me. Sick of AOC. Yeah, you know me. You sick of AOC.
I really love it when people that have never been anywhere in their life talk about the VA and veterans. That just burns me up. Let's go to Florida and welcome Valerie to the show. Hello, Valerie Z.
Hello, Hutch and Ward. Nice to
how
speak
you
to
doing?
you. Good. You know, it's interesting because AOC, I think she won. Can you believe these New Yorkers never just get it together? I don't understand this, but I don't have to understand it because I do. I was thinking about what you were talking a little while ago about, like people, I call it like the suburban safety zone. People think if they move out of the cities, wherever, they're going to be more safe. And it brought me back to thinking about a year ago, we were all talking about the Southlands in South Africa, where the black people were coming and killing all the farmers, the white farmers, that were actually feeding them.
That happened before that in Zimbabwe during the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that was
I think
Idi
it
Amin.
escalated.
Idi Amin and Robert Mugabe.
So, you know,
Communists want to know.
I don't think anybody is safe from this. I think that this insanity has reached a point where they are coming after anybody, and they don't even stop and think about, well, I might not have food.
Well,
or
let me address that because I've done it before, and I was proud to hear you even quote it on the Conservative Enclave the other week. The minute that the average family, it doesn't matter what color you are, but it just happens that the vast majority of families like this are white. And the minute that the average guy that doesn't live in the city starts feeling threatened, physically threatened by his family. Now, before I talked about you're not going to have a revolution because there's too much food in America. Well, food's one thing, but safety's another thing. If you look at the pyramid of human needs, there's a hierarchical list of things that will change a man's opinion. And the number one risk is safety. The number two is food and water. And then it keeps going up as the priorities go down when you get to comfort and heat and all that. But the number one for a man is protecting his family. And the minute that is breached, well, this is twofold. But the minute that is breached, he'll turn to action or he'll cower.
Correct.
One or the other. If you look at the...
Well,
go ahead.
Think about the states that don't allow guns. I mean, my girlfriend lives in Georgia, and she said she went to the range the other day, and the shelves were cleared of guns.
Oh, yeah.
There were no guns. I mean, I don't think that's here in Florida because guns have been available for so long.
It's everywhere, Valerie. It's everywhere. It's just like it's just like the real estate you were talking about. And this isn't and this isn't the first time.
It's the invasion.
If you look at, you're a patron, so you have access to watch Steel City Resistance SCR TV 105. And what Ward and I were talking about that on that show from, I think, 2013. I'm not sure what year it was. It was during the Obama administration. But it was the same thing then. I told him it was Gun Appreciation Day, and I went to a gun store to buy some accessories, and it was 3 deep. The people that were working at the gun store looked like they were shell-shocked. Every one of them had somebody on the phone dealing with this antiquated FBI
background
checks. Right. They were all on the phone, and they all looked pale, and there was no way to get to a cashier. So I just left. But this is the case again. It's just one of the things that was where we are today that people need to understand. All of these edicts that come from these governors and mayors and county controllers and things like that, with all these regulations about COVID, not one of them has a basis in law. Not one has been debated. Not one has been brought out for public comment. Not one has been voted on. So the only way that they last is if we let them last. This is bullshit.
They're also acting as medical doctors. I mean, all the way around, the politicians have become experts in economy, in medicine, in housing, in racial relations. Boy, these politicians really went to school and got high master's degrees.
And the people have become sheep. Ooh. I cannot believe the amount of full-grown men that I see outside by themselves wearing a face condom. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't. I honest to God, I feel like we've turned our country into a bunch of sissies. Let's use sissies. Let's not use what I really feel like saying. That's basically what
happened, though. I mean, because that's exactly what happened. These people that are wearing the masks that now are defensive about it. Aggressive.
And they'll tell on
you wearing a mask. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, if you get within 6 feet of me, I can knock you out, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So you might as well bark at me from beyond 6 feet, because then I don't need to wear a mask and I don't need to knock you out.
It's really horrible, man, and it's sad.
Well, think about all these guys that have worked in these offices in New York City all these years, these lawyers, these doctors. They've all been stripped not only of their suits and their practices, but they're not allowed to get guns. They're not allowed to arm themselves. They're the ones that are running out of the cities now.
In New York City, and this is the honest to God truth, you cannot buy pepper spray.
I know.
You cannot buy a stun gun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a recipe for disaster. And the thing is, and what's going to happen, it's actually already happened. Enough time has gone by that the people that work in New York City have, and I'm stealing a little bit of this off of Rush, the people that live in New York City have realized, damn, I can still have this job and I don't have to live in New York City anymore. I can live in Altoona and I can take that $4,000 a month that I was paying for that shitty tenement and I can buy a house in Altoona that has a pool in the backyard and keep the same job. New York City is dead. It's dead.
Minus critical thinking. Because what is the next thing to look at? You're running out of that Democrat garbage hole, and you're coming down to these Republican-run states where you can protect yourself, where you can feel more safety. And what are you going to do about that? Are you going to keep voting Democrat?
It's our job.
Are you going to turn us into the same garbage hole that you just ran out of? I'm so angry. I mean, Bruce and I, first of all, we're looking to get out of this county altogether. We're actively looking right now. Well, and that first farm didn't come to fruition.
Well, it will. But here's the thing. Here's what we got to do. And I think of you guys when I formulate my opinion on things like this. I really do, Valerie. And what you have to do, because I know that you're active in your local politics, you have to tell these people, you have to find a way to identify these people that are coming into your areas, and you need to talk to them. And you need to say, look, you guys are coming from a place that you stupid asses created. Now, I understand that your opinions were formed by a corrupt media. But that being said, now you're here. And this is the way it is here. And if you don't do that, I'm going to identify you to every business and every organization in this community that you're a threat.
Well,
I mean that too.
Look at all the people that are fleeing California. I mean, Joe Rogan just said he's leaving. He just got that big deal with Spotify where they paid him $1 gajillion or whatever.
Bezos did it out of New York. Same thing.
And they want them to pay taxes for the next 10 years. They better get out fast.
Yeah.
Before Newsom passes this law.
Right. California is going to pass a law that you're going to pay to leave California.
And that's good. That's going to be fine, totally unconstitutional and thrown out because the Ninth Circuit ain't the Ninth Circuit anymore.
That's
Trump
true.
fixed that.
That's true.
Well, good.
So how's Double What doing? How's he doing? Is he doing all right?
He's doing fine. He had quite a day today. My battery died in my car. And he came home after a day's work, and it's 100 degrees here. It's really hot. It's horrible in the summer.
Yeah, it's Florida.
And he pulled the battery out of my car, went to the auto store, put the battery back into my car. I was in the middle of selling my piano to these Russian people that came over and offered me cash for my piano. I was like, take it. I haven't used this thing in 15 years. Take it. We were so crazy busy today that we were eating dinner when you first came on.
Oh man, yeah.
So, yeah, he's doing fine. Thank God he stays busy with his tactile genius.
There you go, man.
You know, he's got to be doing things with his hands. He's great. You know, the other day, this is just an interesting thing, and I'll get right off. He went to get his car, the oil changed. And he said, you know, I was looking around, and all the guys that were the mechanics in the Dodge place were all older. And they said there are no young people that know how to do this.
No, man, you're right. Oh, my God. You just said a mouthful. And it's not just in the automotive industry.
It's everywhere.
I was a regional manager of a military maintenance operation, and not just vehicles. Just think shoot, move, and communicate. That's what the Army does. So that's what I had to maintain. The weapons, the vehicles, and the radios, right? And all of my supervisors that were under me all said, man, these new guys that are coming in here, they're entitled, man. They think that they're supposed to work 5 minutes and get paid for the whole day. It's unbelievable. It is. And it's our fault. I mean, and I'll take that back to pushing college. What a dumb thing we did 30, 40 years ago by pushing all these kids, especially the males, toward college. What a suicidal operation. Try to get a plumber on a Sunday. Try that one time.
Well, for me, I'm lucky. Bruce does all the plumbing. I have no problem getting a plumber.
I'm the same way.
Indeed.
All right.
Nice to talk to you guys.
Hey,
Take care.
Thanks for calling, Valerie. We always appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Sean, California, you're up.
Hey, Hutch and everybody. How you all doing? You
What
pretty
up,
much
up?
covered one of the topics I was about to bring up. But
All right, thanks for calling, man.
One.
Thanks for calling. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next. No, go ahead. I'm just kidding, man. Go ahead.
Well, I got another one. You know how there's this heat wave, right? And
Is there? Tell us about it.
This freaking state and its stupidity amazes me, and it pisses me off at the same time. To ensure that we have 200,000 customers to be able to have their power turn off to save and conserve electricity, to have 500,000 watts available for an emergency. Oh, wow. California, wow. And you wonder why people are fleeing you.
Are they still shutting the power off?
And you want to impose taxes, but you don't know how.
Sean.
For 10 last years.
Sean, are they still having blackouts?
Oh, of course. Everywhere's having blackouts. We have to.
How's that work? I've never experienced that. Tell us how that. Tell the audience how that works. Do they tell you that like on Tuesday,
they tell you a specific
people on
time
Fifth Street
when
are
you
not
need to have certain things off?
Like
They
your
tell
oxygen.
You,
right.
Well,
like
most
does your
likely, I don't know.
does your house
They tell you, my house is solar, which don't mean squat because it's still connected to the grid.
right?
We're not completely independent, so it doesn't mean crap.
But do they
So
turn your
what they
power
do tell
off?
you-
Like you're on a certain day you don't have power to your house, or how does that work?
We
I'm
get told to
serious.
turn
I have
off our
I have no-
ACs. Our ACs.
Oh hell no, hell no. Oh,
I'm
okay.
so pissed off right now because we have to start doing this to 4 o'clock p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m.
Well,
which
that's the
pisses
hottest
me off
time of the
beyond
year.
belief.
That's the hottest time of the day. At least at 4.
I know.
But that doesn't make sense.
It
Because
doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, if your house is solar, right? How can they tell you got to turn your power off because I'm providing you power? You're selling it back to the company, right?
I know. It's like
how can they?
The only way you go completely solar and off the grid, I learned this on a YouTube video, is how you have to have it where it's not connected to the grid. You have to have battery systems. Everything has to be battery. It cannot be connected to the underground power lines or anything like that. I don't know how that stuff works. I'm not an engineer.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jesus Christ, this is really nuts. And you know what? I tell people, don't look at your fellow citizens like they're the problem. Look at the leaders who are the problem.
Exactly.
Because they're the ones who tell you to shut your crap off when you need it the most at the end of the day.
Yeah. See, we can relate more because we both have the same governor. I swear to God, because Tom Wolf and Newsom, they're
They're
birds
like
of a
peas in a
feather.
pond.
Absolutely, because they're both tyrannical morons who believe that they can just step on your rights and say whatever they want and rule by edict and decide, okay, we're going to do this. And and every other week we hear from California, and everybody's like, hey, we're going to do, there's going to be a recall Newsom. Where's the recall? What's happening? Because they're doing the same thing in Pennsylvania. So I'm not just yelling about that. But I mean, where's California at with the recall Newsom thing? Or is that dead again?
I don't know. I mean, I remember us passing over some 500,000 freaking signed petitions, plus, then there's the one that I sent in, but I haven't heard a word about it. So maybe it's all waste of time. But I do have some good news.
Outstanding.
I've started driving.
All right, man. Now
practicing at least.
You're in a tough state to drive. I mean, boy, I listened to somebody talk about the traffic. I listened to a guy talk about the traffic in New York, and wow,
in California.
Or yeah, California.
In California, on
California,
steroids.
like the 405, just nuts. But anyway, so good for you. When do you plan on taking your test?
I have to get better at it because what I did was I took a complete break from driving because when this thing hit, everything shut down.
Right.
And what happened was I did not bother to really think about, in the back of my mind, should I check and see if the DMV's open?
Right.
And I found out it is. So now I'm completely kicking myself in the pants for that. But either way, I'm glad I'm driving now to at least get some practice in. I have a driver instructor that I just scheduled an appointment to. So hopefully that means I can get more practice in with that person, and they can help me, practice more before I take the test. Because the sooner I take the test, I don't know when. I'm hoping it's either this month or next. I don't care when. I want the hell out.
Well, I'll give you a hint. Now is the time to do it because they're all snowflakes and they might just give you your license. There's not a whole lot of human interaction going on in a lot of our blue states.
Yeah,
that's true.
I wonder how they do that, like the driving test, because they'd have to get in the car with you.
I know. It's.
Here's how they do it. They make you wear a mask and they make you have gloves on. And they make you wipe everything down before you get in.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Okay.
All
right, man.
It's nuts.
Well, thanks for calling and keep us posted on that. I want to see you get the hell out of there.
Okay, no problem.
All right, Sean. Thank you very much.
Peace out, guys.
Let's go to Ken in King George, Virginia. What's going on, Ken?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? So what do you think about all these people that are showing up in the streets to protest, not voting in person, but they're protesting in person?
I saw that. That was hilarious.
Speaks for itself, really.
Yeah.
It's obvious that they don't understand the word irony.
Yeah. Well, and this is all reflective of what we talked about at the top of the show about these fake polls. I'm sure that the internal polls that the Democrats have Trump ahead by 15 points in almost every state.
They have to.
People don't want this. They don't. You have a clear choice between violence and racist attacks and normalcy. And the average person, regardless of their party, that's what they want, is normalcy. And they're going to pull this next, mark my word, everybody write this down. In the next 80 days, you are going to see things that you never thought possible from these Democrats. I've already told you that Ayanna Pressley, a member, the Fredo of the squad, is calling for a member of Congress, an elected member of the House of Representatives of the United States Congress, is calling for black people to have civil unrest. Think about that for a minute. That is desperation.
Well, I think the other question would be, why isn't the ethics committee doing anything about this?
Because it's Democrat control. This is what they all want.
That's right. That's Nancy's house.
This is what they all want. I mean, they won't say it, but I mean, we're not stupid, are we? I mean, surely you can see that, Ken.
Oh, and everybody almost everybody I work with, at least the people that are showing up for work, with the exception of a few of them, they all see it,
Well, I'm glad.
The problem is, some of them don't actually even vote. But
that's cool.
They see the crap that's going on, but you can't get them to go to the poll.
Here's my thing, right? They have all the news outlets and all the celebrities, and everybody's doing cartwheels and whatnot because Kamala Harris was named the vice president. Now, 6 months ago, she was running for president, and she failed miserably. She couldn't get 1% of the vote, for crying out loud.
She fell out before the vote started.
Yeah. I mean, she bailed because she wasn't able to pull nothing. I mean, every debate. I mean, she did well in the debates because what did she do in the debates? She kicked Biden in the head. That was her only wins.
Until Tulsi Gabbard got hold of her ass.
Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard whooped her. Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard took her to the woodshed.
Indeed. But your governor's about ate up too, bad as mine. That's the other thing.
And they're talking about, what the hell is this thing now? They want everybody to wear a mask in their house. So
yeah.
You can kiss my ass. You want me to do that?
Civil disobedience, folks. Don't frickin' do it. Don't obey them. They have like I told you before, there's no basis in law for this bullshit. This is all
and there's
tyranny.
No basis in science for it.
Or
the
science.
funny thing is when you go into like Food Line, they're like, well, the new law is.
Nope.
Well, let me see. No, that's an executive order. There's a difference between executive order and law.
The thing that's on our like, especially when I go up to my camp in northwestern Pennsylvania in the mountains, the signs on the businesses say, look, if you got a problem with wearing a mask, take it up with Tom Wolfe. And then you go in and nobody's got a mask on. Nobody's doing it. Only idiots in the cities follow this. I'm one of them. I'm one of them. When I go into a place like the VA, I had to wear it all day. You know what I mean? Except for when I was getting operated on.
Well, it's one of them things, though, Hutch, where if a private store says this is our policy, the same as no shirt, no shoes, no service.
Right.
All right, you want to make it like that, and that's your rule? That's fine. That's your rule. However, don't think that when I walk outside, the first thing I ain't going to do is snatch that thing off my face.
And that's what I do every time.
Because I'm in public.
But, when you look at the local government, we've got a pretty much a guy that's hiding under his desk, Bill Peduto, the mayor. So the county, what's his title? What's Ace's title?
County controller.
County controller or president of the county council, whatever it is, actually created a task force, a fascist task force, to go to private businesses and enforce this junk. But there's no law behind it.
Exactly.
It's
basically we're going to shut you down because we feel as though we can,
right.
and that's what Wolf's done from the beginning, because he said, okay, I'm going to impose these, my statutes or whatever, and there were different counties that said, no, screw you, and
right.
So being the petulant little bitch that he is, he withheld money from the counties,
right,
and said, no, we're not going to give you the funding that was appropriated for you by Congress. So I think that there needs to be an investigation into where'd that money go. Why didn't every county get the same amount of money based on what was voted on by the Congress and signed into law?
Now, Ken, I'm looking at my clock. I'm going to leave you on here, but I'm going to cover a couple subjects if you don't mind, rather.
Yeah, no problem.
Word, tensions erupted at the Sturgis motorcycle rally in South Dakota on Saturday when several members of Antifa, I don't know how in the hell they found Sturgis in South Dakota, but they did, attempted to crash the biker festival. It was interesting to watch, because the badass Antifa fools, children, needed a police escort to get their asses out of there without getting killed.
Yeah. Well, there was 250,000 dudes there, bikers there. I mean, it's Sturgis, man. That's what they do. It's Sturgis. And they said, hey, we're not making no bones about it. We're not wearing masks. We don't care. We'll take our chances.
You're right. And the cops are all with them.
Because in South Dakota, the governor of South Dakota said, do what you got to do.
Right. And ass whoopings were distributed, and they needed the police to get them out of there. I mean,
it's one of them cases where you go, okay, I'm gonna go make a statement. All right, my statement is there's 250,000 of these crazy lunatics, and I'm going to tell them that they're all stupid.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to make my stand. No.
And all these bikers want to do is see the girls take their shirts up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's beer drinking, good stuff, man. And it's spreading. Thousands of people in trucks and on motorcycles rallied and rode through Macedon, New York, to take part in the country's Back the Blue rally. Motorcycles, trucks, and cars rode through Bullis Park in Macedon, I might be saying that wrong, on Sunday morning to show support for local, state, and county law enforcement and appreciation for risking their lives to protect the community, WROC reported. Did you know, guys, that the state police, the Oregon State Police abandoned Portland, and their statement was, because they replaced the feds that were protecting the courthouse, and they left, and they stated the reason was that the Oregon State Police were going to return to communities that support the rule of law. Portland is the new Detroit. Get the hell out if you live anywhere near Portland, it will be the new Detroit, and all the buildings that you see in Portland will soon be abandoned. Trust me on that. Trust me. That is a fact. It's going to happen.
Here's the thing. If you had a mayor with a set of stones that said, okay, enough's enough. I mean, the fact that it went 60 days is way past enough is enough.
We're in 80-day territory now. And the thing is, yeah, you can blame the mayor, but what about the people that live there? They're responsible too.
Sure. But I mean, I blame the mayor for making the police stand on. That's, and here's the thing. You look at what happened in Seattle with Chaz or whatever. When they said, okay, enough's enough, and they sent in the National Guard, boom, it was done. You hear anything about Seattle lately?
No. Yeah, actually, yeah. They're still not. They're still not right. The only reason I know is because my brother lives right next door in Tacoma, and I'm a little afraid for his family. But the whole thing is, I would blame the mayor if the people of Portland or the people of Seattle or the people of any of these cities rose up and went to the mayor's house and recalled him and got him out. But they're not doing that, man. They're not doing that. The ones that have money are moving to Florida. They're moving to Idaho. You know what I mean? It's
and that's what's going to happen. And we talked about that last week, where the truckers union said, "Hey, you defund the cops, we ain't delivering." So the most of these cities, especially like Portland, will have an average of about 17 days worth of food. Once it's more like
3 days. If you look at Kurt Schlichter's analysis of the new Civil War, they don't stand a chance, man. I mean, it's you're right. All of this will end as soon as that truck driver gets pissed off. It will all end. They'll die in place. And then if you add on top of that, if the scenario occurs that I was talking to Valerie about, that the average guy in the suburbs, that's not in the middle of the city, when that average guy feels threatened by these thugs, now you're going to see dams get blown up. You're going to see bridges get blown. You think Antifa is a good insurgent operation? Wait till these country guys get involved, man. They own bulldozers, and I mean, it's just people in the city have no clue, man. They don't. And I'm saying that from my own personal life experience. I grew up in the city of Pittsburgh, and when I was 20, my city was so decimated, I got kicked out. I had to go join the Army because there was no money here. There was no way to make a living for a 20-year-old kid. That's how I got in the Air Force. Exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
And I went out there and I realized all of a sudden that the garbage doesn't automatically get picked up every Monday unless I pay somebody to come get it. And there's no police in my neighborhood. I have to wait for the state police to get here when they can. It's a totally different existence. And these people in the city that have never left, and Pittsburgh is a giant victim of this. A lot of people that live here have never been anywhere else in their life. They have no idea what's going on in the real world. And that's one of the reasons that we have Democrats, because nobody in their right mind would vote for these morons. Not talking about personality, talking about what they want to do legislatively. Ken.
Well,
and I think
I don't think that they even listen anymore, though. I don't think that the voters sit down and say, okay, well, I'm going to listen to your platform and I'm going to make a sound decision based on the pros and cons of your platform. The Democratic platform is what?
Right.
We hate Trump.
Right.
And kill babies.
And white people bad.
And kill babies.
And kill babies and let criminals out and leave the borders open. And, hey, man, more Mexicans, that's just more diversity. Ken, you've watched your state, your Commonwealth, erode because of the influence of the northern counties in Virginia. How do you see this being repaired?
Well, I'd love if they gave just Fairfax and what the hell's the other county up there? Just give that shit to Maryland. I mean,
that's what we say here. That's what we say here. Give Pittsburgh to Ohio and Philadelphia to New York, and let's be done with it.
There you go. I mean, that would solve a lot of problems.
You know, a lot of people don't realize, and this is to all you people listening in Pennsylvania, because like I said, my life experience moved me to out where you ran, Ken, out to Middletown. I was in Lebanon County, and I didn't realize until then that Pennsylvania has Pittsburgh on one side, Philadelphia on the other side, and the rest of the state hates those two cities. Hates them.
Oh, yeah.
Hates them because they drain all the resources.
I mean, well, you know, I left when I was 18, and that was quite a while ago.
Right. Well, I'm just saying.
That way.
You've been there. You know what I'm talking about.
But I would bring people that, you know, I was stationed with and stuff. And, you know, we'd run up 83, and I'm like, okay, hey, do you want to take the quick route to the house, or we can roll down through town? You know, you take the 3rd Street exit there in Harrisburg and run down 230. And, you know, the one guy, we would do Steelton and Highspire and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, this guy from Michigan, you know, he was like, man, this place is freaking awesome. He goes, we've only went like a mile and a half, and we passed like 7 bars already.
No shortage of them.
Yeah, because all the people that work at the steel mill across the street,
Bethlehem Steel, that's right.
Take away their entire paycheck. You
and
know,
the foundry
every other Friday.
Right, the foundry and Bethlehem Steel, and you're right. And I mean, that was Boilermaker country. I know it is. It is.
It's all gone now.
And it's been replaced. It's been replaced by San Juan. You know, at least in Lebanon County, it has been. All right, Ken, man, I appreciate the call. Thanks.
All right, yeah, no problem, bro.
All right,
take it easy,
man, Ken. All right, let's go to the president. He was in Minnesota. Which one do I want to do first? Let's do the funny one first. He has a really good way of tweaking the media. Check him out. This is a short clip, but check it out.
Your hot spots. You got some hot spots. Very unfair to Minnesota, I will tell you that. And I'll tell you, if I don't win Minnesota, I'm never going to do it if I run for a 3rd or 4th term, okay? I'll never be back if I run. I've given up. I almost won last time. One more speech, Mike. Why didn't you have... I almost won.
3rd or 4th term. You know they're going to run with that word.
Oh, absolutely.
I love the guy, man. I love him.
Trump says he will be in 4th term. And
I listen to Britt Hume, he's like, why can't he just stay focused? It's like, shut up, Britt. You don't get it. Nobody cares about your little freaking tight-ass environment that you live in. This is funny to us.
Well, the thing is, though, he does stuff like that all the time.
I know.
And just to get the media to bite on it. And as soon as they do and they start running with it, he just like it's like once again the 3D chess thing. Yeah. He sees 3 steps ahead. He does something here where he says something like this, where they go all berserk about it, and then in 3 weeks, of course, it's not going to be anything about a 4th term, but he does that, or he'll plant a seed here, and in 2 weeks after they get all wound up about it, something comes to fruition, you know, and we've been calling it the 3D chess, and that's what it is, because he's looking 3 steps ahead, and he plays everything 3 steps ahead of where they are.
He does.
And when he announces something, it's already been done. You know what I mean?
It's absolutely already been done. And I almost need to change the name of this segment. I'm not going to tonight, but we almost need to make this the New York Report. But for right now.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes, it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
the Chicago Report with Ward Miller. Yay!
And this week's Chicago Report, seeing as today's the 17th, we're going to start and do August to date. So far in August, in the Democratic bastion of Chicago, there's been 29 people who have been shot and killed, 195 been shot and wounded, for a total of 224 have been shot and 30 homicides. That's in 18 days. Now, that being said, in this past weekend in New York, because I'm always a step ahead, Hutch. I was prepared. There was over 50 people who were shot in New York City between Thursday and Sunday night. And of the 50 people that were shot, 7 of them were critically injured. So, yeah, once these Democratic strongholds start getting crazy, and because of their lockdown and no guns and people can't defend themselves, this is what you get, man. You look at some place like Maine, who makes it like almost mandatory that you have a gun.
And that's a liberal state.
No crime.
Right.
There's almost no crime.
You're right. And you look at it, I listened to a year-to-date report on New York before the show tonight, and they're at 1,000 shootings, where if you look at last year, it was 500.
Yeah.
They've doubled the amount of shootings, man. I mean, it's...
Well, when you have the mayor come out, publicly and denounce the cops, then say publicly and actually remove cops, you can't really be shocked that this kind of stuff happens.
And you tell the women of New York City that you cannot, by law, purchase pepper spray or other non-lethal methods of defending yourself. Well, that's not going to last either. Last week, Black Lives Matter protesters looted and ransacked Chicago's Magnificent Mile for at least the second time this year, following the violence and theft. A Black Lives Matter Chicago leader urged looting to continue, calling the organized stealing reparations. On Saturday, the protesters led off their march with a "Loot It All Back" banner.
Did you see pictures from that?
I did.
From the Magnificent Mile? I thought that a tornado hit it.
It looks like Dresden. It looks like Portland. It looks like Seattle.
Just the amount of garbage and stuff just right there. It looked like, a tornado came through and just ripped it up.
Something else, man. It really is. Running out of time, so we have to move on. The Democrat convention nominating Joe Biden for president in Milwaukee kicked off tonight. And guess what? This is how you know that Donald Trump is saving the United States of America. The Democrat convention will kick off Monday night with 4 Republican speakers. Former Ohio Governor John Kasich, whose father was a postman. Former New Jersey Governor Christine Todd Whitman. Former Representative Susan Molinari from New York, and 2010 GOP nominee for California Governor Meg Whitman. The theme for the Republicans endorsing Biden Monday night is "We the People Putting Country Over Party." The overall theme of the night is "We the People." And that is so disgusting. It's right up there with Mitt Romney and Bob Corker and the rest of these scumbags. Pat Toomey, the rest of them. Good. I know you're itching to go.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, why are you surprised about Kasich? Kasich has been a scum for the last 10 years.
Well, I'm not surprised.
He's a rhino. He was a rhino governor, and that's what he still is. You know, he every chance he gets, he bashes Trump. He's not a Republican by any stretch of the imagination. And the rest of them, I can't say I've heard of what Meg Whitman, and I thought that she was a moron too. Once again, there's no difference between any one of them and John McCain.
Nope, you're right. You're absolutely, or Mitt Romney. I mean, you're right. These people are scumbags.
I am truly shocked that Romney's not on this list.
He probably will be. He probably will be. I mean, this is something that's critical. And you know what? Forget Republican. We need to stop calling ourselves Republican. We're conservatives. The Republican Party is a corrupt organization that is all in for being the weak party as long as they can go to the cocktail parties and as long as they can control a little bit of the money and continue to get rich like the Bushes did and everybody else. It's sickening. Because when you come over and you look at the guy they're supporting, Joe Biden, I mean, I want to play a clip. This guy, I don't know if you've ever heard of Cardi B, Ward, but she is one of the most Ebonics-speaking, illiterate rappers that I ever saw. And my friends in the black community would probably dog me for that, but I don't really care because what are you going to do? Listen to Joe talking to Cardi B, and then we'll come back on the other end of it.
You know what I'm saying?
You're telling me? I got 4 kids, 5 grandkids. Come on. I'm an expert.
Let's do that one more time. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
You're telling me? I got 4 kids, 5 grandkids. Come on. I'm an expert.
He's an expert, Ward. There's only one problem with that. He's got 7 grandkids.
You know what, though? If you think about it, when people get dementia, they revert to an earlier time. Maybe his dementia has taken him back to when he only had 5 grandkids.
No maybe in it. No maybe in it. I mean, this is something.
That might be why he believed it. You know, I only got 5 grandkids. There's 7? What?
How do you
if she would have said you got 7, he would have just flipped out.
As I said before, Kevin Kleinsmith's plea agreement is set for the 19th. And it's going to be before Obama-appointed FISA court judge James Boasberg. So we'll see how that goes on the 19th. It's going to be a little hard for him to deny it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's not a done deal yet.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, if you think about it, he's already made whatever deals he was going to make. He's already rolled over and given all the evidence, because if he didn't, he'd be going in saying, okay, I'm going to plead not guilty, and we're going to put up a fight. It's like, we got you dead to rights. You're going to roll over, and we're going to give you, we'll give you some preferential treatment or something. He probably made some kind of a deal that he's not going to go to jail or something, but somebody above him probably is.
But just to make sure the audience understands what's going on, okay, he made a deal with the U.S. attorneys, but the U.S. attorneys have to sell it to the judge. And he's going to have to, I mean, it depends on the corruption level of Judge James Boasberg. But what he should do.
Well, I mean, you look at what they did to what they're doing to General Flynn. General Flynn's been exonerated. The Department of Justice says we're not going to pursue it.
This judge doesn't have to take this plea, is my point.
You're exactly right. This judge could go, you know what?
Trial.
Yeah, it's real nice. Or, 20 years. You pled guilty.
Right. We'll see what happens. It's just something to watch. Look for, like I said, August 19th. It's around the corner, 2 days from now. Also, let me move to this cheat by mail situation. In an email to their membership, the liberal group claims it's okay to vote twice. After requesting and sending in a ballot using the Emergency Federal Write-In Ballot, the FWAB, the organization says, go ahead and send in your official ballot too, if you receive that. Now, I'm going to try to read this fine print, and oh my God, it's going to be hard. But let me move my mic over here and get a little closer to the screen.
I can get it if you need
Do
me
it. Do it, brother.
All right. So important. If you receive your official ballot after submitting your FWAB, you should complete and return the official ballot as well. It's okay. Only one ballot per person will be counted. If both your FWAB and your official ballot arrive before the deadline, your FWAB will be discarded and your official ballot will be counted. Yeah. How are they going to determine which ballot came from you?
And listen to the precursor. To return by mail, if you choose or if your state requires you to return your FWAB by postal mail, please follow the instructions carefully. 2 envelopes are required. A ballot security envelope to hold your completed FWA ballot and mailing envelope to send your sealed ballot security envelope, as well as the supporting materials with your identifying information. When the mailing envelope, and that's what you said, if there's 2 that they'll, yeah, we believe that, right?
Yeah. Well, here's my question about that. Well, it's not really as much a question as, have you seen the envelopes for these ballots?
No.
All right. There's a barcode on them. And if you look at the barcode, there's an R or a D in it. If that ballot is sent to a registered Republican, the R is available. And you can see the R. It's a barcode on the outside of the envelope. So how hard is it for me to go Republican, Democrat? Well, let's throw these 1,000 Republicans away. Here's the one Democrat that voted for Biden. He still gets his vote.
Let's not forget who the Postal Union has already endorsed.
Exactly.
Is Biden. This is war shit, man. It is. This is Civil War stuff. It really is. I told you before, trust the media. CNN poll just went from Biden up by 14 to Biden up by 4. But CNN polling is completely legit. And the only thing to me that sucks about that story is we should be talking about the Fox poll. Because Fox is all in this, and if you believe them, you're nuts.
Well, here's the thing. If you look back, I'll even go back the last 2 months. Every single appearance of Joe Biden has led to a gaffe of some sort. Every single one. Yeah, you're right. I'm not, usually I try and be funny. I'm not even trying to be funny.
I know you wanted to say every period, single period. I know what you were doing.
Yeah.
And you're right. You're totally right.
It's like, prove me wrong. There's no way. I can't understand how, and they just keep going, okay. Hell, they've had interviews where his wife talked for him.
Oh, it's horrible. And you look at what Pelosi's doing now. Look for this. Coming up tomorrow, Pelosi is calling the House back in session later this week over the Postal Service, urges a day of action at Postal Services Tuesday. So you've got Ariana Presley saying, go ahead and blow shit up in the cities. And now you've got Nancy Pelosi, and she's going to push a day of action at post offices. These people are criminals, folks. They're criminals, and they know they're going to lose, and they know that after they lose, everything's going to get deconstructed. And God bless America for that. My final thoughts, go ahead.
Well, the thing is, too, you had the postmaster said, we can't handle that kind of influx of mail. It's just, it's not normal. It's way above the constraints that we're able to handle. So we're already taxed, and you're going to tax it more. It won't work. There'll be
and Brit Hume.
They're trying. It sounds to me like they're trying to be honest about it and say, "Hey, look, we're not going to make it. You're not going to get them counted on time. We're not going to get them to the place on time." It doesn't make sense.
And Brit Hume, in his ingenious commentary, said that the post office can handle this with no problem. And then he pushed it off. And I might believe this and I might not, that the states that are tabulating the votes are the ones that are really going to be hamstrung because they've never done this before.
Well, and that's the thing. Mussolini said, it's not the person at the ballot box, it's the guy that counts the ballots.
Yep, that's Soros. He probably has that engraved on his plaque above his bed. The final story tonight, Millie Weaver, Millennial Millie, one of the best investigative journalists in the country, was arrested and jailed on Friday. I think she's out now, but she was scheduled to have her first court hearing this morning after a weekend in jail following her arrest last Friday. Her arrest came on the eve of the release of her 82-minute documentary, Shadowgate, that is an expose of the deep state with the assistance of two individuals identified as whistleblowers. Her arrest and incarceration in the Portage County Jail in Ravenna, Ohio, right up the road from here, immediately raised suspicions that she was being subjected to a scary new level of intimidation and censorship. Millennial Millie, as Weaver is known, is a conservative rising star. I tried to marry her, but I'm already married. On the new and alternative media landscape, having worked as a reporter and contributor for InfoWars, that's Alex Jones, folks, since 2012, and lately on her own as well, she has developed a loyal following, and there's widespread interest in the outcome of the legal case against her. Now, what she did, and you can go to heavy.com to check out the whole case, but Millie Weaver, she's a conservative filmmaker arrested at her home. She has two young children, Ward, and her husband/partner was also arrested. But this documentary that she produced, Shadowgate, it's obviously been taken down from YouTube, and she's been taken off Twitter and everything else, these communist platforms, basically was pointing out and documenting how both parties, Lindsey Graham, John Cornyn, Pat Toomey, are all involved in this. This is not, the Republican Party's dead, folks. Well, we might be able to pull something out of it, but the actual Republican Party can kiss my ass from now on.
We've been saying that from the beginning. That Lindsey
Graham.
We
were saying that, not to cut you off, but we were saying that in Steel City Resistance 105 in 2013. Yeah. I listened to it last night, and we were on this. This is something that we've been on since the beginning. Folks, we got to kill this party. We have got to kill this party.
Here's the problem, though. Lindsey Graham is the guy that's investigating his best buddy.
Indeed.
The bottom line is all this came from John McCain.
I know.
Because even though it was produced by the DNC, it was given to McCain. McCain's his buddy. So if McCain's and him was as tight as they were.
His mentor.
Yeah. As tight as they were, do you think for 1 second that Lindsey Graham isn't as knee-deep in this thing as possible?
Nope. I know he is. And not just him. It's all the rest of these Republicans.
I'm just saying, but because Graham and him were so tight, Graham's covering for him.
And
he has to
he's
pounding his chest and going, okay, we're going to have these investigations. Was McCain's name ever mentioned in any of these investigations yet?
Hell no. Nope.
Exactly.
I mean, in our investigations, it has been. But, there's no question that this is a bunch of, we're getting the wool pulled over our eyes, and the Republican Party is not our friends. I hate to say that, and maybe we can take it back. But for right now, if you trust them, you do it at your own peril. Ward, another great show. How can people get in touch with you? Your final comments, sir.
Well, I'm still on Twitter at Wardy22, and I'm Ward Miller on Parler. I'm digging Parler. I don't know.
I like it too.
It's taking a little getting used to because it's not quite as polished as Twitter because it's brand new. But I do dig it, and I like the fact that it's mostly conservatives on there, and you don't got these, window lickers that are on there going, Biden's gone, Biden's gone.
Crayon eaters.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you for another great episode. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you coming in. Thanks for participating in the chat room and all of the calls. Go to rsbn.bandcamp.com. Check out Jacob Seals. What a great artist, no doubt. Also, RSBN Network. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr. Make sure you check out the Facebook page, man. Wow. Facebook.com/Cold War Radio 22. The email's scrtv@live.com. Catch the show on Spreaker. Look for news/news commentary. We're like number 20. Check out the show on iHeartRadio. Give them a shout out saying that you like it. They're paying the bills. Cold War Radio app is free in your app store, iPhone or Android. We're also on iTunes and YouTube. And there's captions on YouTube, and they don't count our stats on Spreaker from YouTube. So if you look at our stats on Spreaker, there's an additional 40 or 50 listeners that actually listen to the show on YouTube. We'll be back on Wednesday. Thanks for letting us into your lives for a couple hours. God bless.